You know the image, right? A man, a mountain, a giant rock is pretty much the poster child for a pointless struggle. But what if we've been getting this story all wrong? What if it's not actually about punishment, but about something bigger? About how we find purpose in a world that doesn't seem to have any? Okay, let's really get into this. I mean, just let that sink in. A job that never, ever ends. There's no finish line, no victory lap, just the work itself again and again forever. It's a powerful idea, and honestly, a pretty bleak one. And for literally centuries, this is how people saw it. It's the perfect punishment because it's so psychologically cruel. It's designed to crush your spirit, to take away every last shred of hope, leaving you with nothing but the grind. So, who is this guy? Well, that's Sisyphus. In Greek mythology, he was this incredibly clever king, maybe a little too clever for his own good. He actually managed to cheat death twice, and for that, the gods cooked up a special kind of forever punishment. They stuck him in the underworld and gave him one job: push a boulder up a hill, and just when he gets to the top, watch it roll all the way back down, for eternity. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sisyphus isn't just some character in an old story. He's a metaphor. For us. For anyone who's ever felt the weight of the daily grind, the sheer repetition of life, and just stopped and thought, what is the point of all this? And that question, that feeling, it opens up a huge philosophical can of worms. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche had a name for this problem. He called it the horror of existence. And to frame it, he used this incredibly intense quote. It's this ancient idea that life is just full of suffering and then, poof, you're gone. So if that's the deal, how in the world are we supposed to live with that? Another brilliant thinker, the philosopher Albert Camus, gave this whole situation a name. He called it the absurd. You know that feeling when you're looking for answers, for some grand purpose, and all you get back from the universe is silence? That's the absurd. And Sisyphus, with his rock and his fill, he is the ultimate poster boy for this condition. Okay, so the universe is silent. What do we do now? This is one of the biggest questions there is. The first answer we're going to look at comes from Nietzsche, and his solution is, frankly, radical. He says, forget about finding meaning out there. You have to create it, forge it, from right inside yourself, with a sheer act of will. He came up with this wild thought experiment he called the greatest weight. Imagine this. A demon appears in the middle of the night and tells you that you have to relive your entire life, exactly as it was. Every single joy, every crushing pain, every boring Tuesday, over and over and over again, forever. That's his idea of eternal recurrence. Now here's the real test. What's your gut reaction? Do you just crumble in despair, thinking about reliving all your mistakes and heartbreaks? Or could you look at your life with all its messiness and shout with joy again? To be able to thank that demon, that, for Nietzsche, would be to truly love your fate. He even had a Latin phrase for it, amor fati. So the key here is a huge mental shift. You can't change the past, right? That's the it was. But you can change how you feel about it. Think about a time you failed. Instead of just regretting it, you can choose to see it as the exact event that had to happen to make you who you are today. By doing this, you're essentially saying, yeah, I meant for that to happen. Thus, I willed it. You become the author of your own story. And this brings us right back to the rock. For Nietzsche, you don't just put up with the struggle. You have to love the struggle. The rock isn't a curse. It's the dumbbell for your soul. It's the very thing that makes you stronger, more resilient, more powerful. It's the tool that helps you become who you're meant to be. Okay, but let's be honest, loving your fate, especially the painful parts, that's a really tall order. And if that just feels like a step too far, well, that's where Albert Camus comes back in. He starts in the same dark place, this meaningless, absurd universe, but he gives us a totally different path forward. He gives us the absurd hero. See, Camus doesn't ask us to love the rock. He asks us to see the rock for what it is, totally pointless, and then to rebel against that pointlessness. He basically says, yep, this is absurd. The universe doesn't care. And you know what? That's where our freedom begins. He says that when you truly, deeply accept that life is absurd, 3 incredible things happen. First is revolt. You live with a constant, clear-eyed rebellion against the meaninglessness, but without falling into despair. Second is freedom. You're suddenly free from needing some grand plan or a happy ending. All that matters is right now. And third, that leads to passion, because this is it. This is all you've got. You have to live it as intensely as you possibly can. And the person who does all this, that's the absurd hero. It's someone who can look the cold, silent universe right in the face, not blink, and choose to live fully anyway. And Sisyphus, oh man, that moment when he's walking back down the hill, totally aware of his pointless fate, he is the perfect absurd hero. So let's just put these two giants side by side. For Nietzsche, the struggle is a fate you have to will, to turn your suffering into strength and become what he called the Übermensch, or the Overman. For Camus, the struggle is an absurdity you have to confront, and in that confrontation, you find freedom and become the absurd hero. And all of this builds to Camus's most famous, most powerful, and probably most misunderstood idea. It's the one that takes Sisyphus, this icon of eternal torture, and turns him into a symbol of victory. The struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. Now wait, happy? How on earth could this guy be happy? Camus isn't saying he's just whistling a cheerful tune. No, it's something way, way deeper than that.
Sisyphus's happiness is a defiant happiness. It's a happiness born out of awareness. See, the gods think they've trapped him, but in that moment when he watches the rock roll down, when he is fully conscious of how futile his situation is, he's actually superior to his fate. By scorning the punishment and choosing to walk back down that hill one more time, he takes his life back. He becomes the master of his own absurd existence. That fate belongs to him.
And that brings this ancient myth crashing right into our own lives. We all have our rocks, don't we? The repetitive jobs, the daily struggles, the big questions that keep us up at night. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. What is your rock? And how do you choose to push it? Do you will it? Or do you revolt?